Hello, hello. Hello and welcome. Just going to go ahead and open up the room and let people start filtering in. Hello, hello everyone who's joining in right now. Do us a favor and let us know where you are coming in from. Tell us your name and where you hail from. We would love to hear from you. Yay. So exciting, so excited to do this masterclass with you all today. Hello and welcome, all of you newcomers. We're just going to open the room early for a bit so that we can let people get in and get settled in before we start. Just going to have myself a little sip of coffee. Well, hello, Marie. Seeing some friendly faces. Marie. Aha! We've got ATS from Westchester, New York. Welcome. Everyone, just a little note, and I'll keep reminding you, make sure that when you type that you put all panelists and attendees in the two. So there's a little drop down where you type your message, select all panelists and attendees so everyone can see your message, because it's fun for everyone to see where everyone's coming in from and what questions you may have. They might share the question, or it might be something that they were thinking as well. So welcome everybody on this fine Thursday. Are you all, I wonder if most of you are coming in from the Power Archetypes conference, and if you are, it's lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining us as we continue the mojo of that amazing experience. We'll just wait here a couple more minutes and see who else filters in before we get started. Oh my gosh, my pleasure, Marie. Thank you. Thanks for joining. It's really fun to keep things going. I got a little addicted to running that conference, so I can't stop. I got to keep going. It was super fun. If you joined in that, let us know how you liked it. Would love to hear from you. So for those newcomers joining us, let us know where you're coming in from, and make sure that your message is sent to all panelists and attendees, because that way everyone can see what you're saying. If it's all panelists, it just goes to me and no one else can see it. So I would love it. I'd love to hear from you and where you're coming in from. Yay. All right, we're gonna go for another minute-ish before I kick into gear, get going. Thank you all for joining us today. Rebecca from Tucson. Hi, Rebecca. Joy from, is it Worcester, UK? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's late there. All righty. Well, I'm sure more people will filter in as we get going, but might as well launch off and get this going, and maybe some people will watch us on the replay. Rebecca said, love the conference. So many amazing women pioneers. Yeah, totally. I'm just blown away by the speakers I was able to get. And Marie is in this room right now, Marie Bento, so incredible and powerful woman. Thank you for joining us here too, Marie. It was super fun. I running something like that, you get the benefit I got the benefit of interviewing all those women and learning from all of them. So it was so fantastic. Yeah. I love that, Marie, you participated and as an attendee for all these things too. It was lovely to have you in our live calls. Those got me hooked. Now that's why I'm doing this webinar. Okay, y'all, let's just dive in, and then we will see what emerges as we continue on here. So let me get myself a little bit settled here. So welcome officially. I'm guessing that many of you kind of know a little bit about who I am and what I'm about at this point, especially if you attended the Power Archetypes conference. But just, I didn't give a huge introduction because most of that was about, everyone attending the event. And I really wanted to showcase them and for them to shine. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself as we jump into this topic, and give you a little bit of background about how I come to this particular topic and the work that I do, and why I'm doing this Catalyze Your Calling masterclass today. So in the spirit of archetypes, I kind of have 3 archetypes that I have found for myself over the time working with people. I'm an Empress of Empowerment, a Priestess of Business. I think that's really crucial, bringing the priestess aspect in, and we're going to talk about the priestess today. And I'm a Queen of Misfits. Just my whole life, you know, I have been the collector of the people who were like me. They didn't quite fit into a specific, you know, a specific place, right? You know, not misfits from the stance of always being left out, but really we kind of had our own unique way of rolling in the world, and we gathered together and forged our own communities. Okay. So my clients are women in spirit-led businesses who work in or draw their gifts from the realms of the weird and the woo, as I call them. You know, we have a whole different experience of the world, a different experience of life that shapes how we engage with life and how we engage with business. And that'll include usually healers and coaches, practitioners, psychic readers, tarot readers, authors, and artists, basically light workers and creators of all stripes. And I especially support them in healing what is commonly called the witch wound, so they can step into their most powerful work and make the money they truly deserve for their unique and world expanding gifts. So, you know, if you're not familiar with the concept of the witch wound, it's basically that feeling of, you know, some of us feel like we actually carry over from past lives experiences of being burned at the stake or being treated really horribly for being different. And we carry some of that over in this lifetime. And, you know, we may have had experiences like that already in this lifetime too. It doesn't have to be a past life experience for it to be powerful and relevant in how you walk in the world and the things that you have to work through, right? And my clients tend to be emerging thought leaders too, you know, whether or not they've fully realized that they're that yet, or they want to give it that title yet, but they're usually working through a number of challenges, from clarifying how they describe the magic they do to actually presenting that and being confident in their efforts at being visible. You know, so sometimes visibility isn't the lack of confidence. Sometimes it's just the lack of clarity in how you communicate about yourself, or those can be actually pretty interrelated, but sometimes one is stronger than the other. And through a powerful journey of archetypal initiation that's grounded in my 20+ years of online communication strategy, I work with them to bust through any glass ceilings they have, any internal limitations that they have around claiming and naming their own awesome and sometimes weird superpowers. And in that vein, you know, I'm just going to give you a heads up now. Toward the end of this talk, I will offer you an opportunity to work with me further if this is something that calls to you. So just so you know, towards the end, if you want to stick around and find out more about that, you can. All right, so today we are talking about how to catalyze your calling. And the subtitle for this is 3 archetypal initiations to embody the next greatest expression of your work. So in my in the archetype work that I've downloaded, I'm nearly done with my book and my framework for this, but I have downloaded, you know, 13 core archetypes that are important for women in spirit-led businesses. And there are 3 that really stand out as ones that you work with to initiate that next level of your body of work, okay? And, you know, basically they're the ones that really will help you step in fully. And let me tell you a little bit before we go into those 3 archetypes, what I mean by body of work and what I mean by archetypes, because that can vary depending on your worldview, and I want you to be, you know, clear on my terminology. So a body of work is the core expertise that you've been cultivating over your life and the life of your business. And of course, the life of your business may go like well into the past beyond like the current incarnation of your business, okay? And that includes everything from the articles you've written, the client transformations that you have facilitated, the books you've written or the ones you've started. You know, we all have one of those, right? The course content you've developed and the products you've made, and, you know, sundry other things. Like a body of work is kind of amorphous. It's not very, It's not just, oh, when we think of an author, body of work is a lot of books that they've written. Body of work includes a lot of different things, especially when you're a healer and a teacher. It can also include several unconscious competencies and gifts that you might not yet be fully owning or showcasing. And what I find is that most clients already have a much bigger body of work to draw from than they're giving themselves credit for. And they just have a hard time really witnessing and owning their genius, right? Because you don't realize how good you are at some of the things you do. You might realize some of it, but you'll have those moments where someone mirrors back to you actually how incredible you are at something that you take for granted, right? It's just right in front of your nose so you don't see it. Now, talking about archetypes, so on a deeper level, so we kind of conceptually know what archetypes are. And on a deeper level, an archetype represents an energy signature that we can tap into. It is actually a power source. It's like a grid. I sometimes say it lives on the astral plane. That's kind of a way that I conceptualize that. And it's something that we can access anytime. And of course, when we think of specific archetypes like the priestess, for instance, that can mean a lot of different things to different people, but there is a core energetic framework of what the priestess is. And when we plug into that energy, we're plugging into something that might have some matching to us, but also might be outside of ourselves as well. It is a form of magic, really, to work with archetypes and to plug into them and to access them for information. So archetypes exist beyond time and space. There's something that we are adding to over the collective, through our collective consciousness, our understanding of what an archetype is. And of course, archetypes can manifest in many, many different ways. When we think of celebrities like, David Bowie, he's not mine. I mean, he's our David Bowie, but he's an archetype unto himself. There is, of course, David Jones, the man, and David Bowie, the archetype, right? That his fans tap into. And of course, you have your own version of that, right? And you're the people that you follow and really feel connected to. They're mirroring something in you that is actually a strength you already possess. It's something that maybe you love about them is actually in you. So archetypes connect us to the greater part of ourselves and our creative life force energy in a really unique way. And I see that the job of an archetype and how we work with it magically is to connect us to the leading edge part of ourselves and, frankly, to sidestep all the bullshit. If you know what I mean, like if you feel like you're constantly coming up against a problem over and over again, you're like, oh my God, am I done with this yet? It's not to say that we don't have work to do on specific issues, that we can keep evolving and expanding something, but using an archetype is a way to say, I'm not so much ignoring that. We want to bring shadow into light, but I am stepping into this new thing. I'm acknowledging that I actually just need to do something entirely different. And I need to try to bypass all this stuff if I'm going to get anywhere. And that's the way I think of archetypes, allowing us to sidestep all the bullshit, okay? So basically, another way of putting that is that they don't engage in our wound. We do want to work with our wound in other ways, but they're not there to help us engage with our wound. They're there to help us engage with our expansion and to take us into that heroic part of ourselves and out of the wound. And of course, the hero is another archetype, right? But we're not going to be talking about that one today. So yeah, just that's a quick overview. Yeah, Rebecca's saying, yes, sidestep the BS. Exactly. I'm going to take a pause here because I'm noticing we have some more people in the room. Take a moment, tell us where you're coming in from, and make sure that if you have a comment or a question as we go, I'll check in with questions more toward the end. But make sure it's set to all panelists and attendees when you do so everyone can see it. Okay, so how do you know that you're being called into your next level? There are different signposts, and there are especially different signposts for spirit-led business owners that we want to tune into. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you're like, well, I don't know, maybe I should learn to be happy with what's happening, especially if you follow law of attraction, you can say, well, I'm going to take myself wherever I go. So maybe I need to learn to fall in love with this before I could try to consider going anywhere else, right? There might be things that you're thinking that make you unsure of whether or not you're being called into something new. So the essence is that you're busting out from old ideas about how you should or could do things in your life. That's the general overview. And some specific ways that could show up is that you're getting lots of downloads about things that you want to bring into the world or manifest. but you're really not sure how to apply it. Like you have the clarity of the download, it feels really good and yummy. And then when you go to do application of that, you feel muddy. You're like, I don't know what step I need to take. So it's funny, that is actually a step that, a sign that you're being called into your next level. And it's gonna take new things and new ways of thinking and trying new things for you to actually engage it and go into the next piece of what's coming through you, because it's not just about the download, right? It's about the actions you take. You might feel like this work that you came into maybe a job or a way of expressing yourself through business, right? Maybe a year or two ago, maybe longer. And it felt amazing when you started. Like it was so aligned for you, it was so spot on. And now it's starting to feel like a job. You're like, how did I actually peg myself with a day job? I thought I left all of that, or I thought I was creating something different, and now it's starting to feel like just another job. Like that's another sign that you are being called into change. You might be feeling like you're getting burned out, you're losing connection with your why you did it. Maybe you're getting bored with your clients, or you're feeling like they're not challenging you, or they're not accepting the challenges you're offering them. And here's a common one. You're noticing powerful results in your work and you're just not sure how to explain them or sell them. Like you might even be hiding out a little bit. You might even be not showing your clients the full scope of what you're capable of because you're afraid you're going to weird them out or they're going to run away. You know, that's a way that can show up. And, you know, this is an interesting thing too that I notice for people that are going through this is there's this idea that even though they feel a little muddy and unclear of what's coming next, they feel this call on them to write a book or get on stage. It seems like the answer for where they want to go next, but they're not sure how to translate that into something that's going to work for their business, and sometimes not even sure how to translate the message that wants to come through them. It's like beyond words, and they're trying to find the right words for it to connect with their people. And you're figuring out, you know, you're actually feeling like this deep call to stand up and out for something, and you're figuring out how to articulate that and maybe even how to stand in that vision. So basically, you know, big things are coming and you're ready for more, but you're trying to figure out how to articulate that. So I would love it if you would, you know, let us know what's shifting for you. Like, does any of this pop for you? Are you resonating with any parts of what I outlined here? I really like to kind of clarify before we start what are the signs that something is shifting, so we can know what to tune into as you're getting this information that we're going to deliver here with these archetypes. I want you to kind of have a framework for understanding what that change really looks like, or what some signs of change might be for you. So let us know what's aligning for you specifically, if you don't mind. I'd be curious to see. So I'm going to keep going while you do that. All right. So we're going to start out with owning your woo through the priestess archetype. All right, that's our first archetype. So I'll tell you a little bit about the priestess archetype. It is the archetype that we access the most when we are creating an environment for healing and transformation. Okay, so, and the way things go with archetypes, there might be some archetypes that are really yours and part of your archetype grid, right? And then they're just, you know, we can access any and all of the archetypes available to us to tap into a piece of them or get insight or wisdom from them, okay? So the main job of the priestess is to set a container for the transformation to occur. Priestess is all about containers, okay? She's all about creating the right container for transformation to happen. And that happens all kinds of ways in a business, and if you're a teacher or if you actually run groups, there's so many ways that containers matter. This can happen through ritual, it can happen through meditation. It's basically a way of connecting with source and bringing source in, or creating a conduit for source information to come through. It can be in setting rules and agreements and boundaries as well, okay? So anyone with the ability to pull other people together in the name of spiritual growth and transformation can tap into the powerful role of the priestess to do their work at the highest level. That is a great one for you to tap into. So in honor of the priestess, because I do want to honor her energy, I want to take this opportunity, if you're open, to really connect with the container of transformation that we're creating here. This feels like a really good opportunity for us to do a little grounding exercise and to connect us all in our circle. All right? So if you are in a safe place to do so, I invite you to maybe close your eyes while I just run us through a quick little grounding and connecting ceremony, okay? All right. So feel your seat in your seat and your feet on the floor if you're able. And really connect in to Mother Earth. Root yourself down. You can put roots down from your root chakra, from your perineum, and down from your feet. And just see golden roots going down as far as feels good for you. But ultimately, really connecting in with the gravity of Mother Earth and letting her hold you. And as you connect down with Mother Earth, really ground into the intention that you're going to let yourself feel safe being on the planet. That is often the hardest job for empathic people, especially if we have any witch wound, is remembering that we're safe and that we chose to be here and that we can enjoy our time here. That it's not all a slog, it's not all a big lesson. It gets to be a place where we're carried and held in our expansion. So just give a little hello to Mother Earth. Honor her for wanting to carry you and hold you in this way. And if it feels right for you, tell her you're willing to be held. Telling you're willing to find a way to feel safe if you don't already. You're willing to hear a way for you to feel really safe being fully expressed and fully realized on this plane. And you might check your energy, check your body, and see if there's anything that wants to be released. And if it does, just let it flow down through the channels of your body, down into Mother Earth to be recycled, to be made into something new and vital and beautiful. You can let it run down through your feet into the earth or down from your perineum like a waterfall. And as you release, you're making space for something new. So connect with your highest star in the sky, that soul truth, that is you but greater than you, that is all of you, that is your wisdom and information, and imagine a blue cord coming down from that, connecting into your crown, where you own your truth and your sovereignty. And receive that blue energy of your being and let it flow into your whole body, mingling with that golden Mama Earth energy. Head to shoulders, to fingers, to chest, to root, to feet. Every cell of your body full and alive with this information that is you and your truth. Just really breathe that in. Notice where it wants to transform something old into something new. And it might just look like something in your body lightening or loosening. Maybe your chest or your stomach, your throat. You might notice something changing color. You might notice feeling lighter, more at ease and more relaxed. Let's just give a little gratitude for that energy. And now that we're feeling more like ourselves, let's connect in with the energy of the circle. Let's picture that everyone here watching this in the future and everyone who's present here now, we are connected. We are inside a golden bubble that goes over our heads and down below our feet, bringing us all together, present time, in this joyful, expansive opportunity. And when you're ready, just take a deep breath and open your eyes and come back in. All right. Yay. Thank you for doing that with me. I always feel it's important when we're working with the priestess archetype to honor her and to take an opportunity to call her in through this kind of experience, through the grounding and through embodying our higher self, because I feel like that's what she's here to support us in doing. So thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for doing this with me. Alrighty. So the priestess, you know, that's one way that I honor the priestess in my work. I believe that it's important to set the energy of the container or to bring everyone back into their bodies. That's a great way to kind of shift the energy of the work that's being done, right? Because we're all over the place sometimes, and coming back into our bodies and owning our truth is one way that we can actually know what is for us and what's not for us. And I don't know about you, but I know that in the beginning of my business, really honoring this part of the work felt a little weird. You know, like if you're the kind of person who really wishes that in groups you could cast a circle, right? If you're a witch, you know, you might want to cast a circle and feel odd doing that because it seems out of context. And this is where I'm going to encourage you, like if you feel that calling, to honor more of how you want to bring that woo and weird into things. It may seem weird, but what is weird about reconnecting with our source energy, right? That doesn't have to be weird, right? So, and honestly, the more comfortable you get owning that part of yourself in your work, the more you're going to attract people who are the right fit for that. Because not everyone is, and that's cool, right? It's cool. But the people who will appreciate it will appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about how this connection to source can show up for different people and where you might not have felt like your priestess was honored, right? So, I mean, we really don't live in a culture that fully accepts this priestess mock-up. And I believe that we're changing that. I think that's where the divine feminine is changing the landscape of business. So, you know, you may have had gifts that your family didn't acknowledge or believe in. Maybe even you have a spouse or partner that doesn't fully acknowledge or believe in the gifts that you have. I was married to an incredible man, so sweet, dear, dear man, but he did not see that side of me, and it was non-negotiable for me. I got to a point where I had no choice but to move on, and it was hard for me to do because, you know, we had a great friendship. It wasn't a bad relationship, and it's not always easy to come to those places. You may have cultivated your gifts. You know, you may have spent a lot of time like learning different modalities, getting really in touch with your intuition and really expanding that part of yourself. But now, because of that kind of bumping up against the cultural norms, you're confused about how to sell them, or somehow, or deep down you believe that people won't pay for that. You know, that's a thing that can happen. And the chances are really high that you don't see the mere act of creating a container as a highly valuable thing. You know, our society has trained us to think that the priestess doesn't get paid. And you know, talked about that with Abiola Abrams. You know, she was talking about her family lineage. Like, actually, the priestess gets paid. Maybe in earlier cultures, she got paid with goats or food or other things, but priestess gets paid. And that's the thing that I think that we are shifting right now in the realm of spirit-led business. So when you devalue the priestess, you are devaluing the work of your soul. You're devaluing that part of you that knows that expansion is the point and that is worthwhile and valuable, okay? And that'll show up as a lack of worthiness. It'll affect your prosperity. There's so many ways that not honoring the priestess in your work can show up. The way I talk about this, and we're not going to talk about the queen today, but I see our queen, our inner queen, and she's the one who, you know, we want running our business. She is going to resource the priestess. She's there to help the priestess heal any old wounds around that value piece. So the most important things you can do for your priestess are to claim your woo and to claim the value of your woo, okay? Even if you're not sure what that looks like yet, you may not be sure how much you can charge, you know, or what the exact container is for your gifts. But just claiming it is really important, and claiming the value for yourself. You want to be open to creating the right container that honors your priestess. And that is about weaving together your gifts in a way that is really unique to you and powerful for the people that are going to come into that container, because you're doing it in the way that is super magical, aligned, and powerful for you. And you want to be committed to the journey of finding the right words to connect what your priestess does with the perfect fit people. In other words, your audience and your soul aligned clients. Finding the words isn't something that happens instantaneously for us. It is something that happens over time. It is a journey, okay? I'm just going to tell you that. I imagine that's going to actually give you a little bit of a relief because we always expect, I'm going to get this blinding flash of insight. I have the hookup to source. Why can't I just get the clear vision? It is a journey. It is a journey, and it is a conversation with source. So I want you to think about it that way. So the key is to own your woo with no shame, to own the value of your woo, despite the things you've been taught or told in your life, to see connection to source as a high value commodity. And even if you're not sure how to profit from it yet, right? So those are the things that you want to keep in mind to honor your priestess and to bring more of that into claiming the next level of your body of work. So let us know what you're claiming. Is there something new that you're claiming that you would like to share, or just, you know, if something here is really resonating with you? And I'm going to take a little quick scan here of comments. So here we go. Oh my goodness, so many great comments, y'all. Thank you. So Anya's calling in from Germany. Hi, Anya. Or not calling in, I always say that. You feel like you're standing at a threshold. Everything resonates. That's great. Rebecca says, everything's resonating with me, feeling the call to stand for something, get on stage and write a book, lots of ideas, but my creativity doesn't go anywhere because I don't know the best action steps. Yeah. We're going to talk about this, but having a framework is definitely very important. Jessica says, lots of downloads of information get blocked at the marketing, finding the right online platforms to run it through. You know, I'm going to say something, and we'll talk about this too a little bit later, but it's funny. Platforms aren't as much of a concern as you think. It's usually the platform issue question is usually a reflection of a marketing messaging question, right? And once you have a clear message, then it becomes clear what platform is aligned and what's going to work for you. I mean, there might be, sometimes there is just a technical piece. I'm not going to say that that's never the case, but that's what I found in my experience. Let's see here. And yeah, Jennifer says that her archetype is the priestess. Absolutely, that is her archetype. Michelle says, I went to school, I went to work out in the world and have not had success after being a healer and teacher for 30 years. I'm trying to understand the call. I thought I knew where I was going. I've recently experienced a total dismantling of my life. I feel the Kalyak. I'm not sure, I'm not as familiar with that. So putting me back together, I used to know my priestess, but I feel I've lost her in the process. You know, and that's really common. And it is kind of a push-pull, right? So the queen is something that we engage with when we're trying to build a practical, sustainable business, right? We have earthly bodies, they have earthly needs, and we have the practical concern of needing to be able to connect with our clients. And so we can get down this pathway of exploring that and lose connection with the priestess. That is a common thing. And of course we want to bring them into this beautiful dance together, right? It's like a two of coins situation. We want to be in the dance and being able to blend all the things together. So it is a journey, absolutely. And, you know, if you've been doing this for 30 years, you're in the middle of a cultural paradigm shift too. You know, there is more permission in the world for us to be who we are and be honored and valued for that than there was 30 years ago. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Yes, Jennifer's saying she's claiming leadership and visibility as a priestess and Alin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's new to me as well. Rebecca says, I'm claiming that I have unique gifts and wisdom that others are waiting for. They want to pay me well so that I can guide them in their transformative journey. Huzzah and awesome. Good for you. That's so great. So yeah, you all make sure that you make your comments go to all panelists and attendees so everyone can see them. It would be great. Okay. So practical techniques for tapping into an archetype. Maybe we'll see if we can visit that one a little later. Really, honestly, it's as simple as calling that energy forth. You know, whatever your you might have processes for calling energy in. By setting the intention that you're going to connect with that energy, you say, I would like to connect with the energy of the priestess, please, you know, align with me and my energy field in whatever way is highest good for me, would be a great starting mantra to have for connecting with that energy. It's really that simple. You just have to invite the energy in. And then of course, I always say, do it with highest good in mind. Like what's in highest good for you, what's aligned for you. You want to put that as a caveat, because you don't have to download it all. You just really need to download what is in alignment with what you're trying to create and do in this moment. Yetta says, I'm a tarot reader. People always want to know if I'm psychic, which has in the past made me feel defensive. Yeah, I get that. You started to say clairvoyance is not my MO yet. Psychic sensors are my hands, and it's true. The more I say it, and it's become more true. I feel my own. Yep, Claire is getting stronger. Totally. Yeah, that you know, it's funny. Labels and names and how we relate to the energy of that can change over time too, and it'll always be conversation with like who's showing up in your world and how things are showing up for you. Totally. Let's see here. Jennifer, I don't know if you're saying you're calling in the queen more. Where your energy goes, energy will flow. Yeah, absolutely. Really, like we want to make things really complicated for calling things in, but just intention and words and paying attention to what you feel coming into, just noticing like when you make a statement, I'm calling in the priestess, or what the aligned parts of the priestess for me at this time. Notice where you feel energy shifting in your body. That's how it works for me. I can feel whenever I'm in a process of working with a certain energy, I can feel an energetic body shift that lets me know, okay, this is in, this is come in, you know? So that's a way to do that. Okay, awesome. So now let's talk about the next one. Thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate it. I love the engagement. So we're going to talk about the messenger as the next one. So, okay, you got the woo. You're giving yourself permission to explore your woo further or to claim it more for yourself. It's not enough to claim it on the inside. You have to talk about it. Otherwise, you're not in business or you're not a teacher, right? The teaching part requires the students. To be a teacher, you have students. To have students, you draw them in and communicate with them about what you offer. And obviously, you're not in a business if you're not communicating about what you do. I mean, it's not to say that you can't get things through referral. There are many people that have gotten by on referrals and they have a business and they're not really saying much out loud about what they do. People are just, you know, just a small handful of dedicated people are really talking about what they do. But if you've ever been in that position, you know that it's really hard to grow past that. And that lets you kind of keeps you in a place of just getting by. And maybe you're okay with that. And maybe that's totally aligned for you. But most people, they really do want to do more than get by. They want to be in flow, you know? So here, I'm going to take a little sip of coffee here. So, you know, most woos and weirds, we have major fifth chakra issues. We have a lot of stuff locked up here, and we're afraid to talk about what we do or really fully own it. You might have been told as a kid that you were too much, you're too sensitive, you're too weird. And basically, people just want you to shut it down. And that can not always happen in really direct, obvious ways too, right? It can be very subtle. You can get lots of cues and signals from the people in your life that they don't want any of that. They don't want what you got going on. So that can leave us feeling like, you know, what's the point? Why would I bother saying anything? I'm not safe. I'm not safe in the world when I speak out about what I do. So the messenger is the archetype we step into when we're going into greater visibility. And it shows what you stand for. So the great thing about the messenger in this way is, you know, I think that there's a point at which at certain stages of business where messaging from a marketing standpoint takes a little while to get comfortable with that, right? You might have all kinds of things show up that feel like they're out of integrity and authentic. And we're going to talk about authenticity later. And then something shifts, and then you're actually ready to see the gifts of marketing, and it doesn't feel like it's something that's so against your value system or whatever that looks like for you. And the messenger is the one to tap into, because you recognize that the messenger, yes, has this opportunity to support you in marketing your services, but also in getting your message out into the world, right? Like these things go together, and they're so essential to work to work together, especially for you as a spirit-led business owner. You can't just market just to market. You have to feel like your words are having an impact, and that even if people choose not to work with you, they are getting some benefit. There's a give back from your words that goes beyond you selling something, right? So when we talk about the messenger archetype in a bigger picture way, if you are a messenger, you have a way with words, or the ability to make sense of specific experiences, to translate them for others. You tend to be able to find the meaning in anything and everything. And you might also have a way of empathizing with many kinds of people and seeing nuances in the world, and you rarely have a black and white perspective on things. And we can, of course, tap into that energy at any time, especially when we're trying to communicate with our soul-aligned client. So that's one way to channel your messenger. You want to use the messenger gift to really understand and speak to what your soul-aligned client needs. And you might not know who that is yet, but you can use the messenger also as a way of getting curious about that. And then if you are more clear about who your soul-aligned clients are, then you can get clearer about what they need and what their specific needs are. You start to pay attention in a different way when you're a messenger. When you're with your clients and you're in messenger mode, you start to notice, messaging concepts that you need to call on for the greater community, right? So you want to find the words that resonate with their needs, desires, and their frustrations, and the things that are getting in their way, right? And the other part of being a messenger and owning your messenger is you want to stand out for your unique perspective and the things that you care about. So there's a boldness in that, of claiming your point of view and claiming what you care about and claiming the values that are yours, okay? But ultimately, the most important thing that you want to tap into the messenger for is being consistently visible. Because we tend to do things as from a feeling place, and we want to kind of feel into a message and feel like we're really in alignment. And that can sometimes get in the way of consistency, especially if we're not feeling our oats, especially if we're going through an inner growth process. So finding ways to cultivate consistency that actually work for us as unique spirit-led empathic business owners can be really helpful and help you really grow your business. If you especially tapping into the messenger to find your own ways of being more consistently visible. Okay, so why is this hard to do if you're an empath? Why is visibility hard if you're an empath? Well, for one, I know this from lots of experience. You can't just jump out there and do it. Not like in a big way. It's not like you're going to wake up one day and go, I'm ready to consistently message. I know exactly what I want to say about this. It's a journey, for one. It's a journey. It takes time. Now, yes, it does look like every once in a while you doing something that terrifies the snot out of you, right? If you've ever done your first Facebook Live video, you've seen other people do it and you're like, man, it looks so easy for them, but I am so terrified. I don't know what to do with myself, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then after time, you get more comfortable with it. If you've ever done that or something like that, you know what that feels like. You do have to make leaps that are uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean just because you did your first Facebook Live, now you're ready to do a TED Talk, right? Those things don't necessarily go together. So, keep just reminding yourself it is a journey, then that's okay. Now, as an empath, your nervous system needs time to expand to each new frequency, upgrade, and adjust to having other people direct energy at you. It's not just your mind. Your mind is a part of it, right? We can tell ourselves oh God, everyone's looking at me. Now I need to really be on my game. I need to have it all dialed in. Everyone's staring at me. That's your perfectionist talking, right? The frequency piece is another part of it. So we have very sensitive nervous systems. And there's a lot of reasons that happens that I won't go into in this talk. But we have to honor the needs of our energy system and how our nervous system responds to energy coming in. So whenever you're in expansion, that comes in, what's happening is, first, you're getting new information coming in at you as energy. And then your nervous system takes it in, and then your body tries to make sense of it and process it and organize it. And then that looks like expansion once you get through that process. And that's why if you've ever tried to rush ahead and do a whole lot of stuff and you psyched yourself up for it and convinced yourself it was going to work, and then you got sick, burnt out, whatever, that's what probably was happening. You may not have been fully honoring your nervous system in the process. As an empath, this is really important for you. So that's something to keep in mind. And then as an empath, we have big wounds that we need to heal methodically. You know, as I was saying earlier, we're not going to bypass the shadow work. That's still got to happen. But you want to heal it in the right order as you're moving forward into more visibility. And clarity has got to come organically on how you communicate. We talked about this earlier. So this is why if you've ever just tried to work with a content creator or a web person and something just didn't work, like they were brilliant and you thought they were going to be the perfect fit, and then something just didn't work for you, because they're like, okay, you've got a month, get your website content done. This is because you have a need to organically take that information in, process it, and then manifest it three-dimensionally, okay? So it has to feel authentic, and that doesn't happen in a flash of insight. It happens over time. So where does that leave you? Basically, you just need a roadmap that works for you and the way you operate, or you're gonna stop and start and maybe restart a lot. I don't know if you can give me like truth if that resonates for you, right? So yes, the recording is gonna be available later. If you're on the list, you will see it. So yeah, go ahead and you can catch the replay. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so many stops and starts. And you know what? I've been there. We've all been there. It's easy to shame ourselves for that. But when we really understand the context of how that's happening, why that's happening for us, it makes a huge difference. And the thing is, once you heal that, any shame you might be holding around that, you can actually move forward a lot faster. I will say that. Let me just visit some questions here. I feel like, I'm not sure who it's cutting it off, but I feel like as a woman, physical appearance and creative self-presentation is absolutely crucial. It might be. It might depend on what kind of audience you're trying to attract. We'll talk a little bit about identity play, but thinking about identity in terms of what you want to create with your business. It can be, and then for the right people, you don't really have to put on airs. But really, when it comes to branding, it is all about identity play, ultimately, whether you're a man or a woman. So, my encouragement to you is to try to find your own truth of that and see if you can find something that actually is aligned for you. Not to do anything because you're told you should do it. I don't know. That's just my feeling. But there might be more to that in your situation that would take some discussion. But that's my first hit on what you said there. So, yes, I think that we caught up. Okay, yay. So, yeah, if you've ever had that sense of gosh, I thought that I was so ready to jump ahead and do the quantum leap, right? Because I believe that quantum leaps are possible, but sometimes what we really need is time for our nervous system to upgrade to a new condition. And I've seen this over and over again in my visibility. Spirit gives me exactly what I'm ready for. Spirit gives me exactly what I'm ready for, not what my ego mind is trying to tell me that I need to do, the big goal I need to achieve. Spirit gives me what I'm ready for, and then my energy field has time to integrate the new reality, the new information, and then I can start to then see things physically on the 3D plane in my life, in my business. Okay, so let's talk about the last archetype, which is the trickster. Okay, I love the trickster, especially because, my neighbor has this cat. She's like 3 or 4 houses down from me. She has this gorgeous, big, gray and white striped cat named Loki. And he just comes over and hangs out at my house. We used to have a cat. We have a cat door. He just comes in. This morning, he just came in expecting to be pet and snuggled. And he comes and sleeps in my old cat's cat tower. So I got some trickster mojo in my life. We call him part-time cat. But I love that he is a reminder of the trickster, because I so love the trickster, and he shows up as the trickster in my life. Not every day, not when I want it all the time. He just does it on his own, on his own time. Speaking of the trickster. So all of this stuff that we're talking about feels pretty serious. And the trickster is here to remind you that it's all a game. It really is. It's both serious and not serious, right? It's the paradox. The trickster is that paradox. And the trickster reminds you you're always going to be evolving. So there's no need to have a static image of yourself or get thrown out of the game by uncertainty. And when you're expanding visibility and evolving your body of work, it's important to open up to the transmutational energy of the trickster. The trickster likes to shake things up, likes to keep you on your toes. And a trickster personality is someone who is a chameleon and a rebel, who refuses to adopt the status quo, and they stand up for individuality, for freedom, and for bold exploration as a primary purpose in life. And of course, that's probably all the reasons that I fell in love with David Bowie as a young girl and have always admired him, is that all those qualities. So the reason we might embody the trickster, one big reason, is to make a sacred use of the mask, right? Not like masks for the purpose of pretending to be someone else, but a mask for the purpose of stepping into our truth. So I will say, authenticity, you know, that's kind of gets bandied around in branding and marketing, but it's not as important as you think. It's often a red herring for where you're afraid to let yourself grow. In other words, the edge that you might be terrified to step into. And for high integrity people, wearing a mask, a sacred mask, is even more important. Basically, we want to give you permission. You want to use the trickster to give yourself permission to play and experiment with your own identity as far as other people experience you. And one way that I use the trickster in my business is through the use of an alter ego. And by now, if you were in the conference, you've met Lady Doom, most likely. So Lady Doom tells it like it is. She actually mocks the very coaching industry that I soulfully participate in. Like, I totally believe in what I'm doing. And she will go and make fun of all the things that are kind of like the shadow side of it, right? Or at least she will amplify what's, you know, amplify and shine light on what's negative. And she's also a huge narcissist. So it's really funny to go and play in that side of myself. Now, I do it very directly as this character, right? So your alter ego doesn't need to be highly visible to be highly powerful for you. It's a way that you can explore where you have made yourself small so that you can just get along and get by with other people, okay? And your alter ego can be a way for you to step into your boldest and most powerful expression. So I tap into my alter ego when I need to reassess my boundaries in a situation or in a relationship. When I'm reassessing my responsibility for something, like the old me would have taken too much responsibility, and I know on some level that that's the wrong call to make, I will call it my alter ego to help me keep me straight. I do embody her when I need to put out an edgy message that I'm not sure about, or I'm like, it's like me reaching into my edge, something I'm nervous to do. And when I show up in a public place, on stage, someplace like here, I might call in qualities of my alter ego, okay? So basically, what your alter ego is there to do is help you work out wherever you felt you were, you needed to rein it in, or you were too much. Those are two places that you want to look at to figure out what something else you might want to embody that would be more helpful for you. So if you're open to sharing, you know, feel free to go ahead and put in like some alter ego qualities that you might want to explore so that you can take up more space, basically. Marie says, would this be like creating a business persona? It can be. It really can be. And I want you to give yourself permission to do that. You know, basically where a brand, you know, meets the outside world, where our image meets the outside world, it's not inauthentic to curate something specific for where you, on an image level, meet the people that need to find you. It's not telling a lie. It's just giving them the truth that they need to know for them to see that you're the right fit. The parts of you that are aligned with what they need to hear to step in where you're in alignment with them, right? That's like a practical way to handle it. But giving yourself permission to play with your image, I think, is really powerful, because we can get really serious about this, take it so seriously. You know, sure, you don't want to make a website and then just be like, I don't like any of this. Now I got to go do it all over again. Like, that's, of course, not what we're talking about. We're not talking about going so far out on a ledge that you just can't vibe with it at all. But just really giving yourself permission to play. Like, I'll notice this in a photo shoot. People go, oh, well, I got to figure out like what I would normally wear, and I got to have no makeup on and all this stuff. When a photographer will say, actually, even if you're doing a very natural look, like you need makeup because the lighting is going to work better, but giving yourself permission to play and go, okay, I'm doing some things in this photo shoot that aren't things that I would necessarily wear every day, but that's okay because it's really fun for me to play with this image. Especially if you're going like really extreme and getting really creative with it, just let yourself call up an energy or an archetype, even if it's not something you embody every day, even if you normally wear a hoodie and jeans, okay? I think that that's okay. If your brand is hoodie and jeans, then go for that too. Like that's okay. But really just give yourself permission to play, I think is really important. So yeah, Rebecca says, challenge is the balance, how not to be perfectionistic, but also feel in alignment with a new identity and brand. Totally. It's not a perfect, there's no perfect straight line, right? But for you, it might be different. And you might need to play in a new identity to claim the next part of you. And you might rein it in a little bit after you do it. You might go, that was great for helping me expand, and now I need to actually bring it in a little closer. I did that for the longest time. I had pink hair, hot pink hair, totally in alignment for me. And it was great. It was a way to stand out and draw in people who liked my quirky energy. And I loved it. And I stayed committed to my pink hair for years and years. And then I hit this point where something deepened in me and I had to just let it go. I needed something simpler. And I still, all the energy that the pink hair represented was still in me and my brand, but now it was in a different place. And that was a completely authentic shift for me and my brand. So female equivalent of a wizard is, I use the term magician usually. Magician is, may not be exactly the counterpoint to that, but I say magician. So let's talk about, well, basically, as we're saying, getting clear on the trickster archetype can serve you in a very specific way and can liberate you to step into your full expression in your business. So I talk about archetypal initiation. And you can understand archetypes intellectually, or you can engage with them and embody them in very specific ways that serve you day to day. I believe that we don't need to have other people initiate us into our true self, but we do need sacred witnessing and sacred containers for growth and expansion. We need someone to priestess for us. We need to priestess for others and then have others priestess for us, help us see our truth more clearly. Because it's easy for us to do it for other people, but not so easy for us to do it for ourselves. And when it comes to channeling your message at certain stages of business, you need someone to create the right container to keep you in flow. And if you're a high achieving, high vibe woman, you want a lot for yourself and you do want to fast track it. Like that's cool. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. And there are times when we know quantum leaps are possible. And then there are times when we know that we need to go through a longer process of initiation. And really, like most of the time, a lot of quantum leaps that I've seen are happening because you already did this. Like you went through this process of initiation and then you did something that really unlocked all of that for you, right? It helped it kind of take all that potential that was in your vortex stored up and realize it, manifest it 3D. And as I said, empaths have unique growth needs as they're stepping into new ways of being and being seen. And you have to accommodate your nervous system in the process. Like I said, energy hits the nervous system, has to be integrated, and then you have to make sense of that, right? So going through a process of initiation allows you to truly absorb and utilize the information that you glean in the process. In essence, what you do is you slow down to speed up. And, I know from experience, and I know that you probably do too, often when we try to leapfrog ahead, we end up going backwards if we're not really ready, right? So inside though, right, you're ready. You're ready on a deeper level. You're ready at your core. You're ready to own your priestess, i.e. own your woo, right? You're ready to step out for your powerful message and be visible for that as the messenger. And you're ready to try on new ways of being and live in your edge to embody your highest expression through the conduit of the trickster. And if you're ready to find the words to explain your woo and your soul to your soul aligned audience and clarify your message and your next level body of work and learn how to step into the frequency of the dynamic expert and maybe even the thought leader that you're being called toward, then I would like to invite you into my new year-long container, the Sovereign Spirit Academy of BizMagick. And I would love to tell you more about that if you're interested. Triple yes, I love it. Anya says, I feel a little afraid of the trickster. Yeah, it's like unlocking a lot of suppressed energy. Totally. It can feel dangerous, right? Like, oh gosh, and people aren't going to be all right with me anymore. People are going to run away. I'm going to be too much. That can totally happen, but you're not too much. I bet it'll be fun. I bet it'll be fun. It does seem kind of scary. Okay. In that note of jumping into that like fullness of yourself. So I'm bringing together a group of badass, high vibe, high achieving women who are going to fully bring forward the next greatest expression of their work. It might look like, if you're gonna like download your next level of body of work, it might look like creating a new program, writing a book, maybe creating an Oracle deck. I've done a couple of those myself. You might start a podcast or create a signature talk, or just show up daily as the powerful messenger to your existing or growing community, right? So how we do this in the program, we define your unique archetypal essence, which is the energetic fingerprint that makes you magnetic for your soul-aligned audience and clients. And we translate that into the message and programs where you can boldly step into the next incarnation of your magic. And in the program, you will confidently claim your unique brand of woo and weird to amp up your frequency and magnetize your soul-aligned audience and clients for the irresistible offers that will be born out of your own next level body of work. So this is all going to happen over 12 months. In that 12 months, you're going to alchemize into the next version of you, all through this process of archetypal mastery and initiation, all applied within a framework of grounded business mastery designed specifically for people in spirit-led businesses. I've done this for 2 decades. I know what it takes to go through a process of expanding into greater visibility and really owning your body of work. So by the end of our time together, you're going to have a clear image of your archetypal essence, how to apply it in compelling messaging, and interpret it through an offering that leans into your greatest strengths and passions. That's another piece of it. Like, there are probably passions and things that you've been wanting to do that you haven't fully honored or seen as possible yet. And that's something we're going to work on. Not only that, this archetypal initiation will activate your power to create and recreate your business identity over and over again as you continue to evolve yourself and your body of work. So you can finally sidestep any old limitations around your right to be seen, own your genius, and prosper from your work and message. Because the truth is, it's not just a one-shot game. You need the tools so that you can do this again when something else shifts for you, when you get the next download, right? You're going to keep creating yourself. That's what life is for, right? Is to have that play and that ability to keep creating and recreating yourself. And we want to give you the tools to feel confident doing that within the container of your business. So you're going to begin to easily draw in the high vibing, great fit clients who are ready to work with you and do the work it takes to get the results. That's a big part of it. And then also invest in the transformation you offer at the rates that you deserve and you're ready for. So imagine people coming up to you and, maybe they reach out to you directly through Messenger after your latest inspirational post, or you sent out an email message to your list and you woke up to an inbox where someone or a couple of people or 3 people have enthusiastically reached out to you to find out how they can work with you. Like, that's one way that can look. Or imagine standing in the power of the massive high value results that you provide, like really owning that. That is such a powerful place to be, when you can really own the results you get and not shy away from saying what you do for your soul aligned clients, and then sharing your work with such compelling clarity that people reach out to you ready to invest. So there might be some things standing in your way of doing this on your own right now, right? Because you're all wise beings connected with your own soul level truth. And even though that is the case, there might be some things that make it hard for you to fully do this on your own. So you might have confusion about how to express or explain what you do because it defies the usual definitions. And so you feel muddy and unfocused whenever you do try to market yourself. It might seem like a huge job to battle people's expectations or beliefs about you, whether it's your family, your spouse, your existing client base, reflecting back the old you that you may be already leaving behind on the inside, right? So you start to step out and then you get pulled back down again, sort of, by practical concerns and expectations surrounding you. That can happen a lot. Now, here's another thing. The world feels like it's oversaturated with thought leaders, and the idea of becoming just another anything, whether that's like a coach, an author, a speaker, that whole guru mock-up that sometimes we shy away from. Not only seems daunting to become that person, to step out as that person, but it might feel frivolous and egotistical to you too when the world feels like it's on fire. Like that is definitely a thing that can stand in the way. And while you might crave an audience and crave some influence, another part of you is thinking like, what the hell? Do I really want all those people looking at me? And if I did, do I really have something truly meaningful to say to them that is adding to the conversation, expanding it, and not feeling like it repeats things that they've seen and heard before, right? So you might let your own great ideas lie fallow and unrealized because you're battling this inside of yourself. And you may have also tried doing quantum leap things and tried programs and tried learning new strategies and funnels and found that you just weren't quite energetically ready to take full advantage of them. And you ended up feeling frustrated with yourself for wasting time and money. And so now you just doubt yourself more and you doubt any next steps that you might take. So if any of this is resonating, like, just let me know. I know that I've been in all of these places. That's why I understand them so well. So here's the thing that empathic spirit-led business owners eventually realize. A beautiful site doesn't automatically give you enough confidence, enough of a confidence upgrade to go out and share your genius with the world. It can do a lot for you, but if you're not there, it's not going to take you all the way. And more money, making more money is deeply connected to how willing you are to be visible rather than knowing the latest social media or funnel secrets or where to build your platform. All of those things are not going to help you make more money more than being more visible well in the right ways. And you need clarity in how you communicate what you do in order to feel confident about communicating about what you do, especially if you want to connect to your soul-aligned clients. That is just something that is really important to you. And you know that you need to grow organically with the right kind of framework to help you achieve meaningful outcomes that will last. And again, that energetic nervous system piece, it needs the right amount of time to integrate each up level that you make in your visibility. And you know the value also of being in a container where you can be held in that. And you can be held by other powerful, high achieving, high vibe women in business, because you know that this kind of container actually is rocket fuel for your fulfillment and achievement. Like doing it alone, like you can, but you know that if you have other people that are kind of on the same wavelength and they're all reaching for the same kinds of things, and maybe some people are like succeeding in places where you haven't felt as strong, and you are succeeding in places where other people haven't felt as strong. Like you all can call each other up to more. And I know that's been my experience in all the groups that I've invested in. So while that pathway to clarity and confidence isn't an overnight proposition, it can actually feel aligned, joyful, and perfectly in tune with your own flow and creative expansion. So just a quick overview of what you would do and create in our time together in this container. So you're going to get clear on how to combine your unique abilities together in a clear core offering and communicate it to others effectively. Like boom, that's like a big, powerful win, especially if you haven't been sure how to do that for a long time. Or maybe there are things you're still figuring out about it. You're going to refine and clarify your body of work so you can establish the unique core concepts underneath your burgeoning thought leadership platform. So maybe that doesn't look like anything yet. It's just an idea in your mind. It's still in there. It's starting to happen, right? So you're going to get clear about what core concepts are going to be the fodder for all of that. You're going to download your next key pieces of your next level body of work and take the steps to manifest them. You know, while I'm not going to show you how to write a book. I'm not going to show you how to create a talk that sells. You are going to get the key pieces and downloads. Like downloads are going to be happening in this time. That's just what happens in the containers that I create. You're going to be having these downloads and getting clarity on what to do with them. You're going to take away key concepts and ideas that you can implement to create a powerful magnetic brand. Again, we don't create the brand, but you're going to have all the concepts you need to take to your different providers and the people that can help you build all of those things. You're going to become the person that people talk about. So they're going to share your message with others. They're going to lean in to hear what you have to say, and they're going to raise their hands to work with you at your next level rates, right? The rates that you're ready to charge now. And you're going to develop your own alter ego, like Lady Doom, or your own version of that, to support you in times of challenge and expansion. And you're going to get access to an energetic tool set that will massively up-level your confidence and help you take care of yourself on an energetic level as you expand your visibility. And ultimately, you're going to come away fully owning the power of your own unique vision and body of work and feel confident and ready to be seen, delivering it to the world. So I don't know if that sounds good to you, but I'm really excited about it. So before I tell you a little bit more about what we're going to do, or not what we're going to do in the container, but what the details are about it, just a few little details. I'm going to paste the application link in the chat. So if you want to apply, go to that link. And for all you replay people, that link will be sent in the email with the link to the webinar if you want to apply. So that'll be there. So I just want to put it there now so that you can know where that's at before we wrap up. But the details are that it's going to be a 12-month program. So you'll have access to the program through the entire 12 months. And you will get 4 private mastermind sessions with me of an hour each. So every quarter, you're going to get some one-on-one time with me so that you can take the things that you've been working on and things that you're trying to, refine or curate or get some clarity on. You'll be able to do that with me one-on-one. So you'll have at least some opportunity to get direct feedback from me on your marketing and messaging and where you're taking that. And of course, there's a program curriculum that'll be delivered in live calls and recorded trainings. We're going to have Q&A calls every month. And we're going to have 2 3-day mastermind retreats in Portland, Oregon every year. These are actually bonuses. The retreats are bonuses because I recognize that not everyone that's going to be in the program will be able to join us. But the mastermind sessions alone are worth $3,000. The retreats are at least worth $3,000. So those are just some things that are going to be going into that program. And of course, there's a lot more details that I'm happy to give you. Those are the highlights. I've told you what we're going to achieve in that time, so that gives you enough of an idea of what we're up to and where we're going with this and what the whole point of the curriculum is. And I'm happy to send you more information. Just the only thing you got to do is fill out that application. And your application it just says you're interested. It's just saying, I'm interested in this program and I would like to know more. So fill out the application. If you're a right fit, we will send you an invitation letter where you can get more details about that, and then we can figure out what the next steps would be for you. Okay? And I would love to answer just any quick hit questions you have here. Just so you know, really quickly, that there is a special. It's not necessarily like, the special is that the first 20 people who sign up get like a massive discount. So first 20 people, it's like 33% off of the usual price of it. So that's a reason to act now. If you are interested, go ahead and just fill out the application. You don't have to be sure. Fill out the application. Put your pin in. You're interested, the interested category, and then that way you can be first in line for those 20 slots that we're having opened up right now. And then of course I have another. I love throwing in bonuses. So if you sign up, if we go through the process and you decide to sign up, if you're a right fit and you decide to sign up, by Sunday, if you sign up, then you will get an extra bonus hour with me that we will add to your program. So that's another reason to kind of act now if you're feeling the flow on that. But definitely just being one of those first 20 people is going to be a massive savings for you. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. Okay? Yay. Oh my gosh, thank you all for participating. It's been such a joy. It's 11:11. Like, what a perfect time to wrap that all up. I really hope you got a lot of value out of today. Whether or not you sign up for the program, no bigs. I just hope that you come away with some gold nuggets that you can take and implement in your business right now. I'm just going to scan over here to see what people are saying. Yeah, the concerns are resonating. The things that come up for spirit-led business owners earlier, yes, totally resonating. And I know all about them because I've been there. Jessica says, definitely doubt decision-making with regards to spending money to grow my business. That is a huge thing. I actually made kind of a kick-ass post yesterday in my personal page that I should probably share in the Soul Leaders group. When we devalue the investments we've made before as if the expansion we got out of that wasn't worthwhile. So say you come into something, right? And you're like, I'm going to get XYZ result. And instead you got ABC. ABC was just like, oh, I grew a little bit. I was a little more ready to be seen. I got a little bit of clarity on my work. It's like it's not big enough. You didn't do enough in the past. you know, it's funny, our brains are wired to make us forget all the ways we've grown. Once you grow in a certain way, you forget who you were. And you don't remember probably just where you came in at and how much growth and expansion happened within that container. And expansion is the point. But of course, yes, we also want to like hit all the practical notes, and you just don't know how much what you've learned is going to come in handy later. I find that people come into my container, they've learned like techniques and strategies. And then when you, again, do the energy upgrades over time, suddenly all the stuff you learned unlocks. You're ready to access it. So it's never a waste. It really isn't. And I think it's really important for you to honor that your intuition was right, drawing you into that other container, because you've got to just stay in the habit of trusting yourself and trusting your wisdom and intuition on these things. It's a huge deal to be able to communicate your core offerings. Absolutely. It's a huge deal, you know, and then that takes a little time to get that clarity. Marie says, I love your logo. Yay. Thank you. Well, the logo for the program, it's a fun one. I had a lot of fun getting that one put together. Jennifer says, sounds like an amazing program. I learned so much in a previous program with you. I know this will also be life-changing. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, the program that Jennifer was in, we called the Empress Circle, and that was such a powerful foundation for what I'm building here, even though this work is specifically built on the archetype piece. But also every month we're going to be going through messaging pieces. We're going to be applying this archetypal energy to helping you get clearer and clearer on your message and your work and how to bring that fully into the world. So yes, thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate it. And it was such a joy to be in that container with you. I just adore you. Anya says, thank you. It's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Rebecca says, this has been valuable for me. Thank you so much for your messages and offering. Thank you for being here and participating. So if you have any questions about anything I've spoken about, I'm opening the floor, whether it's about the program or just about the 3 archetypes and the initiation, you know, kind of being in that initiation process as an empath. I would love to hear your questions. I would love to open the floor to you for questions. So please feel free to pop anything in. And of course, if no one has questions, we can also, we can close the circle if we need to, but I would love to hear from you. And just a little reminder, if you don't know about this, we have a Facebook group called Soul Leaders and Visible Visionaries. It's a group, not a page. So go join the group if you're interested. And we have great conversations over there. We have a great community growing thanks to the Power Archetypes Conference. And I just love seeing you all over there and what you're working on and hearing more about you, your stories and your business. So I would love to see you over there to get to know you a little bit better. But that is something fun that we're doing. So yeah, Rebecca's got a question. Can you speak more on authenticity and the idea of it being a red herring and being on the edge of your truth that you're afraid to step into, how that relates to the trickster archetype? It was a lot for me to take in, especially as someone who advocates for authenticity all the time. Totally. And it's funny, I deliberately do the authenticity as a red herring just to kind of shake things up. That's my trickster side. And I'm all about being authentic too, but really, like, let's think about authenticity. It's a spectrum, right? It's not like today, like I'm wearing this, and then yesterday I wore a t-shirt and jeans, you know, and no makeup. Like one was authentic and one wasn't, right? So I think that whenever we try to access this idea of authenticity, especially as high integrity people, we tend to come into it from a very kind of strict place. Like, I've got to be in my integrity and make sure I'm telling the truth and that it's all in alignment, you know. It's very rigid, and it kind of traps us into this idea that we have to be this very kind of like just one aspect of ourselves or one very clear picture. Like we need to know ourselves clearly so we can be authentic to that, right? Oh, I love that Anya says this. There's a German author who wrote the book, Who Am I? And if yes, how many? So good. Yes, because we are facets. We are multitudes, right? And so the reason I try to shake the authenticity thing up is so that we can actually be more creative in accessing our multitudes as they suit us, as it feels good, as it's fun, versus trying to lock ourselves into something out of this kind of red herring of integrity too. You know, so as Lady Doom is all about shaking things up around the integrity piece. In fact, I found myself saying as her one day, she was talking to the integrity market. And of course, I would never think to say anything like that. But when I'm accessing Lady Doom, she's like her own thing. She's a part of me, but she's also not, in a way. And, you know, this idea that like, I get to be Lady Doom and I get to be me, right? And while I am not Lady Doom day to day, that is not my everyday self, right? There is still something in that that's authentic, even though it's very different. So, and I think this is part of the reason I was so enamored with, fascinated by David Bowie over his life, because he played with identity so dramatically, and people loved him when he was the Thin White Duke, or when he was Ziggy Stardust, or when he was just kind of 2000s and beyond David Bowie, right? Just this charming guy who seemed really relaxed and at ease with himself. Like there were all these different personas. And I will say that I think that later in life, he was more him than he had ever been before, like true to himself and his personality. But he played in this area. I mean, I know it's through the arts and it's creative, but I think that there's a place for this in business, to play with identity and to just kind of like, you may not always be a rock star, but does your brand need you to call up a little bit of your inner rock star for you to have fun with it and do the things you want to do with it and play with the way you want to play with people? You know, does embodying that particular image actually really, you know, call forth what you want to do next in your work? And giving yourself permission to ask, what do I want to create versus, you know, who do I need to be for people to be able to accept me and be okay with me, right? Or for me to look like I'm honest or in integrity. Like actually go, what will let me play the way I want to play? So that's the way I would explain that. So you're saying that we can be in integrity while also living out all our parts in a paradoxical way, embodying the hanged man. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Trying not to be very, and as Marie says, we're not trying not to be one-dimensional about ourselves, because we aren't one dimension. And I think that that's where we get locked in and we freak out about anything that we create, is we're like, well, is that me? Well, is that me? Am I being honest? You know, it's supposed to like, well, that was a moment. That was me in that moment, and that was truth. And I get to expand my truth and keep evolving that as I go. It's very freeing to be in that place. Rebecca says, I tend to pigeonhole myself because I feel like I'm inauthentic when I allow myself to contradict myself. But I know that all of that is ultimately authentic, like what you're saying. This is a very interesting way to play in a new way with my identity that I've been struggling with. Good. Yeah, it's like, just be a little more free. And that's, I mean, I know I talk about David Bowie too much, but really, like, I feel like he's the easiest archetype to call up when we're thinking about giving ourselves permission to be creative in our play and identity. Like, that's just something that everyone can access and go, oh yeah, I see how that worked for him. So giving yourself a little more permission to be an artist in your business and how you express yourself, like, let that be creative, let that be, you know, an art of kinds, even if that you're not an artist in your business. It can be a really powerful thing of just letting yourself be creative in that image play. And of course, yes, like you said, contradicting yourself. Actually, it was really funny in the interview with Adrienne and Lady Doom. Lady Doom contradicted herself in the conversation, then goes, oh wait, you know, I'm an evil villain. Of course I can contradict myself. I'm allowed, you know? And it's really fun to just like let go of that like need to actually be so strict with who we are, what we say. Yeah, we want to be, you know, it's not like an advocating for being irresponsible and hurtful. It's not advocating that you don't need to be intentional with your words and how they impact and influence people. That's all really important, but it doesn't mean that you can't actually play with your identity still, even in the context of that. Rebecca says, truth is such a funny mercurial thing, right? There's no absolute truth anyways. And a part of that too is just remembering that when we are having those uncertainties, a lot of it is like, we're actually afraid of how people are going to take us, right? We're afraid that they're going to take it the wrong way. There's nothing that empathic people hate more than having their intentions misconstrued. You know, they're like, no, I meant that in the best possible way, or I was trying to be funny and they totally misunderstood my intention, right? Good night, Anya. Thank you for joining us. So I just will say, like, we have to take back our power and not put our self-worth on how people take us, whether good or bad. you know, so feedback is lovely, you know, positive feedback is lovely, and negative feedback is what it is. And it's like, we get to just be in the moment ourselves, whatever that looks like, and that's okay. And just giving yourself that ultimate freedom. That would be my last word on that. Marie says, even though Lady Doom is an evil genius, she speaks from a truth that is enlightened. It is true. She does. She's all about shining light on shadow. At the end of the day, that is what she is all about. And, you know, just like I have my own inner evil genius, she has her own inner goody two-shoes that she's constantly at war with. Poor her. I think she has it harder than I do, honestly. You're welcome, Rebecca. Thank you so much. I'm appreciating how you've come into this work and for your sharing and asking questions. That means a lot to me. All right, my loves, I think we're wrapped. I don't want to keep you too long. I feel like this was really exciting and I love digging into this with you. Thank you so much for joining me for this time and contributing your questions and insights and inspirations. It's so much more fun when we have playmates. So thank you for that. And thank you for contributing. My pleasure, Marie. My pleasure. I love sharing this stuff. I geek out about this all the time. All right, my loves. So I hope you have a beautiful day. If you haven't joined us in the Facebook group, please do. I'd love to see you over there. And wherever you are hailing from, whatever the rest of your day holds, I hope it's wonderful. And mwah, my love to you all. Bye-bye.